You are enjoying the contrast of your time and place. We read your vibration, so it's just as well that you own up. Are you among the rare humans who have clearly identified something wanted that clearly has not yet manifested in your experience, and you are still joyous in the anticipation? Yes. Because when you reach that place where for you it's not a matter of if it will come, it's just a matter of when it will come, and you've come to understand that the when is completely in your control, because how long it takes for something to manifest is only as long as it takes you to become a vibrational match to your own intention. You know that when you have been living some contrast which has helped you to know that you are not wanting something that you are living, and in the midst of knowing that you are not wanting this, out of that comes clarity that you would prefer this. And whatever that preference or desire, no matter how strong or soft it is, it precedes you vibrationally, and Source answers it immediately. You are, in that moment, able, if you are paying attention to the way you feel, to notice the vibrational relativity between the desire that you've launched, even though you just launched it, and where you are vibrating on the same subject. In other words, when you go to your mailbox and you get that big bill and your heart sinks because you know you can't pay it on time, you launch another rocket of desire relative to wanting more money. And that rocket of desire relative to wanting more money joins the millions of other rockets of desires that you've launched relative to wanting more money, and becomes a part of your vibrational escrow, so to speak. We like to say it that way because everything that you discern, whether you speak about it or not, anytime you're living what you don't want, your clarity about what you do want comes forth, and that clarity precedes you vibrationally. So when it does, there are now within you two vibrational components. There's the component of your desire, which you've been working on for a long time in most cases, and there's the component of what you think usually about the same subject. So you want more money, but you're beating the drum of, I don't have enough money. And as you do that, that negative emotion you feel that feels like worry or discouragement is your indicator that your vibrational relativity between where you are right now and where you want to be is not a match. And so your dollars cannot flow. They cannot increase from where they are. They cannot flow beyond the expectation that you've got going. So that's what we meant when we say the when factor is all up to you. The when it will manifest is all about how long it takes you to get up to speed with your own desire. And the more exhilarated you feel, the more up to speed you are. The more positive the emotion is when you think about the subject of your desire, the more up to speed you are. And you just can't maintain that attitude of positive expectancy without what you want coming to you rather quickly. 99% of your creations are always complete before there is any physical evidence. In other words, you are vibrational beings, and so you are offering vibrations. And the vibrations are what universal forces are responding to. And sometimes you do a good job of offering words that match your vibration. But whether you do or not, it does not matter, because your words are not your point of attraction, nor is your action your point of attraction. Your vibration is your point of attraction. You have this magnificent guidance system that lets you know what your vibration is. And really, it's a trial and error thing. And by that we mean you just get used to noticing how you're feeling, and you become accustomed to deliberately projecting thought in order to deliberately affect the way you feel. And before you know it, you have felt your way right to where you want to be. Esther laughed this morning as she was taking her morning bath because the sign on the faucet said hot that way and cold that way. But when she turned the dial, she found her experience to be exactly the opposite. Whoever put the sign on the faucet got it turned around. And Esther thought, I'm glad I'm wise enough to take a hot bath anyway. In other words, she could feel which was hot and which was cold. She really did not need the sign. And it was fortunate because the sign was incorrect. And we're wanting you to understand that often you're reading some sign that is outside of you that somebody else has placed, and you're trying to follow that guidance, which is based upon something that has nothing to do with you, and then you wonder why you're taking a cold bath. And we say, if you're paying attention to the way you feel, you're always moving toward what you are wanting. And we want you to hear and feel with us this business of vibrational relativity, because everything about your vibrational being is based upon that. Now, in order to understand that, you've got to first know that you in these magnificent physical bodies are extensions of source energy. And as extensions of source energy, not separate from source energy, not here to prove something to source energy, extensions of source energy. So the strongest vibratory component of you is that pure positive energy that is your source. When we say to you, and we say it often, in fact, we've written a book about it, when you ask, it is always given. And the reason that we say that so emphatically is because whenever you or any point of consciousness, even the one-celled amoeba, even a cell in your body, when any point of consciousness has exposure to experience, preference is born out of that experience. You just can't be having an experience and not have, from your personal, selfish point of view, a personal perspective or preference be born from it. And in the moment that you out here on this leading edge have that birthing of preference, source agrees with you. Now hear that. Oh, it is so important and so delightful for us to impart this to you in this way. You are deliberate genius creators worthy of creation, and understood so well by source that as you are out here on this leading edge having your exposure to contrast, which by the way you were really in favor of at the time, as that birthing of desire happens within you, you radiate a vibration that goes to a place that you have not been before, and in fact where no one has been before, really, because the uniqueness of that which is you causes the birthing of eternally unique desires. And each time one of those preferences is born, source agrees emphatically, because source trusts your leading edge perspective to selfishly know what's best for you. Are you hearing this? Now, if it's hard for you to hear it, if you're too humble to hear that you get to selfishly choose what is best for you, then listen to it from the whole of the picture. Understand that every point of consciousness, every cell, every point of beingness is having that experience. And then think about the selfish nature of every point of consciousness. Selfishness could not be a better thing, and nothing could be more logical, because no one can perceive other than through the perspective of self. So as self perceives and concludes a preference, and source answers each and every one of those preferences, can you feel how the benefit of the whole must take place? We're not saying to you that your selfish desire is answered and there's only enough to go around a little bit, and so many other points of consciousness are denied. We're telling you that every source of asking is answered. And can you see how the evolution of all that is, the evolution of every species, occurs from this perspective of self? So we want you to feel special, but not that special, because everyone who asks is answered every single time. And the point that we're really wanting you to hear here is that that is the reason that one point of this vibrational relativity comes into place instantaneously, because when you have a contrasting experience which causes you to ask, source joins your asking. And so there is this thriving, pulsing energy about what you have asked for so far. But now there's another point of relativity. It's how you feel about it. So you're sick in your body, you launch a rocket of desire that you want to be well. Source agrees with it and thinks only that thought. Source only sees you as well. But when you get the x-ray, when you take the score, when you look at the bump or the lump, when you see yourself not as you want to be, that negative emotion that you feel is your indication that you are vibrationally deviating from the vibration of your source. And so the vibrational relativity between who you really are and what you want, and who you are allowing yourself to be by virtue of what you're focusing upon right now, is out of whack. And the degree of negative emotion that you feel is about the degree of out of whackness. In other words, the better you feel, the more in alignment you are with you and your own desires. The worse you feel, the more out of alignment you are. As Jerry and Esther travel from Phoenix to San Diego, they are well aware of what their journey is. They know it's about 400 miles. They know they have to go west. And they know that most of the 400 miles, they're not yet going to be where they want to be. And yet, they don't get to the halfway point of Yuma, Arizona, where they have not yet found a good place to eat, and become so discouraged about not yet being where they want to be that they get disoriented and turn around and go back to Phoenix. That journey is understandable. So it's not hard to continue to move in the direction of what they desire until they get there. But we see so many of you who are sick, wanting to be well, who get well along the way, and then you stop and take score about where you are, and you turn around and go back to sickness. We see so many of you well on your way to a breakthrough relative to finances or relative to relationship. But right before manifestation point, you notice that it hasn't happened yet. You start taking score of how long you've been on your journey, and you get discouraged and turn right around and head back in the opposite direction. We like to tease you a little bit. It is really interesting to us that you've come to the place where you're not sure that good feels good. Too many people have put too many signs on too many faucets that sent you in the wrong direction, and you are not as trusting as we would like you to be. In other words, when you are listening to the guidance that is outside of you, go this way, follow this way, follow this way. We know how confusing it must be. We see you even in medicine. We see you in your physical bodies. They give you a diagnosis and they tell you that it is terminal. And then you give up, and then it is. When the only thing that keeps you from remaining in this physical body is lack of focus of something you want and alignment with that focus. In other words, when you find from your contrasting experience things that you want, and you find a way to be a vibrational match to those things, you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on. Life force flows through you. Life just gets better and better and better and better. So this relief factor that we're talking about, huge relief between despair and anger. We love seeing you make that jump because there's a huge vibrational difference that is relatively easy for you to make. In fact, you make it all the time. But you go Phoenix, Yuma, Phoenix, Yuma, Phoenix, Yuma, Phoenix, Yuma, Phoenix, Yuma, Phoenix, Yuma, Phoenix, Yuma. Your knee-jerk response takes you into anger, but then those around you don't like you in anger, and since you're more interested in how they feel about how you feel than you are about how you feel about how you feel, you take a cold bath, and we would not do that. We would say, the sign is wrong. I can tell through my own experience that the sign is wrong. And I'm wise enough to follow what I can feel to be true for me, rather than trying to follow something that somebody else has established as the path that they think I should follow. We have enjoyed this interaction immensely. This has truly been co-creating at its best. Be easy about all of this. We make too much of all of this. Get out there and find something to be happy about and be happy about it. And then look for something else to be happy about and be happy about that. And don't try to fix the world. It isn't broken. And don't try to reform your own self. There's nothing that needs to be reformed. And make peace with where you are. And try to make the best of things. And look for things to be happy about. And make lists of positive aspects. And get on rampages of appreciation. And look for the best feeling thought that you can find from wherever you are. But most of all, just take it easy. Just relax a little bit and look for the blessings that surround you, and make lists of the things that you are appreciating, and get yourself tuned back up to the vibration of well-being that is so natural to you. We want so much for you to get a sense of what we see lined up outside your door. The aerial view of the vibrational escrow that is being held for you is amazing, and as you just relax a little bit, it begins to flow in. You'll never get it done, and you cannot get it wrong. And there is nothing that you are supposed to do, only that which you want to do. Be selfishly interested in the way you feel, and let everybody else take care of the way they feel. And it is our promise to you that you will fulfill your reason for being, that you will contribute to this time-space reality in the most emphatic way imaginable, that you will fulfill your every dream as they continue to unfold, and most of all, you will live the life of joy that is your legacy. There is great love here for you.